For one visitor, today was a lesson she won't soon forget. She arrived at Buckingham Palace with the air of someone used to getting her way. Loud, flashy, and entitled, she moved through the crowd like royalty in her own mind. Her heels clacked confidently against the pavement, a luxury handbag swinging from her arm, and oversized sunglasses masking the condescension in her eyes. To her, the historic palace was not a monument of centuries-old tradition, but a backdrop for social media clout. She wasn't here for the history. She wasn't here for the reverence. She was here for the show, and she believed she was the star. As the ceremonial guard stood silent, unmoving in his iconic red tunic and bearskin hat, she moved closer. The rope barrier meant nothing to her. The whispers of disapproval from other tourists? Ignored. The warnings on the nearby signs? Laughed off. With her phone already recording, she began her performance. Mocking poses, silly dances, a few exaggerated faces, all meant to entertain her followers. People who, like her, seemed to believe that reverence was old-fashioned, that rules were optional, and that tradition was just another thing to be poked fun at. She turned to the camera. Look at this guy. Does he even blink? Come on, it's like he's not even real. The people around her didn't laugh. They watched, uncomfortable, as she stepped closer still. And then, without hesitation, she reached out her hand, aiming to touch the guard's hat. In that moment, the air changed. The crowd collectively held its breath as the guard, until now completely still, sprang into action. He stepped forward with authority, boots thundering against the ground with military precision. His voice, sharp and commanding, cut through the noise like a blade. Step back from the Queen's Guard. She recoiled instantly, stumbling backward, the color draining from her face. The smile that had played so confidently on her lips disappeared. Her phone wobbled in her hand as she realized this was no act. For the first time all day, she was quiet. The crowd, previously silent in their discomfort, now stood taller. The tension was broken not by chaos, but by clarity. This wasn't a moment for laughter. It was a moment for respect. And as the guard returned to his post, once again stoic and still, the message rang louder than any shout ever could. Some roles are not played. They're earned. What many fail to realize is that the Queen's Guards are not performers. They are not actors in a costume drama for tourists. They are elite soldiers, trained in both ceremony and combat, sworn to uphold centuries of tradition and service. Many have served on battlefields around the world. They've endured the harshest conditions, seen the worst of war, and yet stand proud in uniform to protect not just the monarchy, but the identity and history of a nation. Their discipline is not decoration. It is the product of grueling training, deep commitment, and a code of honor that doesn't falter under pressure or under mockery. But still, some people see only the surface, the uniform, the silence, the stillness. They mistake dignity for passivity. They assume that tradition equals weakness, that just because something is old, it must be obsolete. But they are wrong. In a world increasingly driven by speed, convenience, and instant gratification, there remains a place for timeless values: duty, honor, and respect. The royal guards symbolize these values not just through what they say, but through what they endure. Every second of their watch is a statement that some things are still worth standing for. So what leads someone to believe they are above all that? Maybe it's the illusion of celebrity, the dangerous idea that online attention grants real-world immunity. Or maybe it's the culture of entitlement, where people are told they can be anything, do anything, and question nothing. But today, that illusion cracked. Because today, a spoiled tourist was reminded that not everything bends to her will, that some boundaries are not to be crossed, no matter how many followers you have or how expensive your clothes are. That respect cannot be bought, and tradition cannot be mocked without consequence. And while she may leave London with her pride bruised and her ego rattled, the lesson she learned will last far longer than any souvenir. The next time someone walks through the gates of Buckingham Palace, they might pause before stepping too close. They might look beyond the red tunic and the still stance and see what truly stands before them. A human being carrying centuries of sacrifice on his shoulders. The ceremony you witness isn't just for spectacle. It is a living link to the past, a thread connecting soldiers who gave their lives for their country to those who continue to protect its legacy today. So let her moment of embarrassment serve a purpose. It'd remind us all that behind the photos and the pomp, behind the pageantry and precision, there lies a deeper meaning, one that deserves more than just a passing glance or a mocking video. Because some people stand guard not just over palaces, but over the very values that hold a nation together. And in that stillness, there is strength. In that silence, there is sacrifice. And in that moment, a spoiled tourist learned what millions already knew. Respect is never outdated.